If you like this video, please hit the subscribe button and the bell so you don't miss the next one. Knighton Gorges was one of the grandest manor houses on the Isle of Wight. Located in the hamlet of Knighton near Newchurch, it is reported to be one of the most haunted locations on the island. The house was of Elizabethan Tudor style and has a history of tragic events. On the 27th of December 1170, Thomas Becket, the Archbishop of Canterbury, was assassinated in Canterbury by an Anglo-Norman knight called Hugh de Morville and 3 other knights. Hugh fled from the murder scene in Canterbury and fled to the Isle of Wight and resided at the manor, which at the time his family owned. In 1721, Sir Tristram Dillington died there under mysterious circumstances. Tristram was a local politician who is thought to have committed suicide after gambling heavily after the death of his wife. His maid is said to have concealed the nature of the death by placing his corpse upon his horse and driving it to the lake, ensuring that the property was not forfeited and to avoid an inquest. And in 1821, the owner of the manor, George Morris Bissett, destroyed the manor before his own death in spiteful action to his daughter for marrying a clergyman against his wishes and preventing her from owning the manor. These events have since generated reportedly paranormal activities at the location. Some say they have seen the old manor house appear on the grounds. Some have seen the ghost of Sir Tristram riding a horse each year on the anniversary of his death, and the sighting of animal-like gargoyles on top of the gateposts. They may have been removed when the house was destroyed. There has also been sightings of a lady wearing a blue or purple dress who runs up and down towards the gateposts. This is said to be the ghost of Bissett's daughter. Also, ghostly horses and carriages have been heard and seen along the driveway and surroundings of the track road. The house itself is said to appear on New Year's Eve with a party in full swing. Visitors to the site have reported strange lights in the sky and around the area where the house once stood. All manner of ghostly activity has been especially reported around the gateposts. Strange lights and orbs are seen as a regular occurrence. Visitors to the site have also experienced strange happenings with their electrical equipment, such as mobile phones shutting off, batteries draining and cameras not working. Also, vehicles that have stopped to look at the site have been unable to start. The site today is privately owned and a holiday cottage exists upon the estate in one of the remaining outbuildings. All that is left of the original manor are these 2 large gateposts. Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel, and welcome back to this place here that I was talking about in the narration. I'm here, it's Saturday morning and it's very early. It's just gone past 7 o'clock in the morning and sunrise has now come up, so I'm hoping to take some photographs, but now it's started to piss down with rain and not too clever. I've got my Zeiss Ikon Nettar loaded with a roll of Ilford's HP 400, and I'm going to be pushing it to 1600. It's a little bit dim around here, so I'm going to be pushing it to 1600, but I don't mind doing that. It'll give us a little bit of contrast, a little bit of extra grain as well for these images. You can see the gatepost behind me. Apparently this whole area is supposed to be the most haunted place on the Isle of Wight. Now, I don't know how true that is. I've been past a couple of times in the car and stopped a couple of times, and one time when I did stop with my wife, we both tried to take photographs of this on our phones and our phones crashed, so that was a little bit strange, bearing in mind that we'd read about the electrical interferences in this area with, you know, cars stopping, cameras not working, etc. But ain't going to affect my Zeiss Ikon because there's no electric components in it apart from the DSLR that I'm filming it on, so hopefully that's going to record all the way. I reckon it will. So although there's not a great opportunity, I suppose, for photography here, because this is the only spot where the gateposts are, there's only 2 gateposts, so there's not a great deal of photographs to take, but I'm going to just try and get a few interesting angles on these gateposts using the Zeiss and a tripod, and see what we can come up with. I must admit, standing here at the moment, although it's raining and I'm getting wet, talking to myself into this camera, hopefully talking to you guys, I don't really feel much at all really. I don't feel spooked out, not like the last one where I was down in that cellar. That pretty much creeped me out. Got a Robocop. 5.6. Big freaky gust of wind just came through, lovely. Just to give me the jeepies. I'm actually getting the jeepies down there, I don't know why. But I'm not really feeling it here, but there's a lot of woodland around and there's nothing, I don't feel anything at all. But I'm not a ghost hunter, so I probably wouldn't. I did actually think I'd get a bit creeped out while I was doing this, but yeah, nothing at all. I don't think I'd like to be down here at night. I think my mind would probably play tricks on me and give me the goosebumps and stuff. But anyway, I'm going to have a little mooch around and hopefully we'll get some decent photographs on the Zeiss. So I had a short break there. It got the rain started coming down quite heavy, so I just sat in the car for a little while, waited for about an hour. The rain's cleared now and the skies are a bit lighter, so instead of pushing at 1600 I'm going to go for 800 instead. Here's the Zeiss Ikon now, so I'm going to be using this, try and find some angles or something to try and shoot. I've got 12 photographs to take inside this camera. I don't know if I'll be able to get 12 photographs here. There's probably maximum 5. But we'll have a go anyway and see what we can come up with. Right, okay, let's get this first shot in. This gate post. So with the Zeiss Ikon I've got to guesstimate my distance between the camera and the subject, so I don't know how far that away is, but probably near on infinity. I'm going to go to the little red dot. That says 8, this is meters. It ain't 8 meters away. How far is it? First shot coming up. This is frame number 1. So that's 2 shots I've taken already, and I'm going to put the video camera away now so I can just concentrate on some of the photographs with the Zeiss and see what angles I can come up with. So I'll turn the video camera back on after the shoot, we'll get developing, get in the darkroom and see what photographs, see how the photographs look, I suppose. I'm staring at the moment over there, just imagining what it must have been like back in the day when the manor house was sitting there. And also people saying that they've seen sightings of gargoyles appearing on top of these gate posts, and the manor house appearing at New Year's Eve and everybody having a party and the lights, strange lights in the sky. I suppose unless you've seen it for your own eyes, who am I to disbelieve anyone, I suppose. Hard to believe, but it's definitely got an eeriness about this place. It's definitely got an eeriness. I wouldn't like to be here at night, I must admit. I don't think I could I don't think I could stay in a tent in those woods at night. Definitely not. Let's get on with some photographs. That was that. 2 gate posts. I thought, to be honest with you, I thought I might have been able to get a few more photographs than I did. I ended up taking one of the road and one of the one of that sheep as well. But it hasn't been a waste of time. You know, I think sometimes when you've got a bee in your bonnet and you want to take photographs, imagine if you was on large format, you'd be up here taking 1 or 2 shots and back home. It's only because I've got 12 shots sitting in the camera, you feel like you've got to take all those shots there and then, but really you don't have to. I've got a few shots, they're the ones I wanted. So I think this place has certainly got a certain feel around it, whether it's the stories that you've read and it's your imagination running a bit wild with you, but I certainly didn't feel nothing there taking photographs at all. It's quite pleasant really. The birds are singing, you can hear traffic along the road here, so you can see walks of life going on. I suppose if you was here at night, it might, your mind would probably run overdrive and start playing crazy tricks on you. But I know that a couple of weeks ago I was here and with my wife, and we both took photographs on our phones. My wife's phone crashed, and then my phone camera app crashed as well when we were trying to take pictures. That was a little bit strange. Whether that was coincidental or not, I don't know. But I have read reports that people's cameras, even their cars, are not started. I hope my car starts. Even their cars are not starting. They've got dead batteries after parking up here and then moving on. So anyway, let's get back, have some breakfast and get developing. Okay, so I'm ready to develop my film. Hopefully it'll come out all right. I had a little tiny bit of trouble putting it onto this reel. I've got an old negative on there at the moment just to test it out, but it just kind of kept getting stuck. But hopefully I haven't wrinkled it or creased it, but I did have a little bit of trouble putting the film onto the reel. But anyway, let's crack on. I'm going to be pushing this film to the speed of 800. Like I said, I've got my X-Toll here. Thermometer sitting there, bang on 20 degrees. That's nice. That's 1 part to 1 part X-Toll. And this is my stop bath. This is my fixer. There's the Zeiss Ikon Nettar there. It's a great little camera. I love using this camera. Hopefully these are in focus, but we'll soon see. And I'm using my mobile phone as a timer, and according to the massive dev chart, I'm going to be developing for, I can't remember what it said now, 14.25 minutes. So we'll go for 14 minutes, and I don't know if you can see my timer there. And there's a cup of coffee. That's for me. Right, so let's get the X-Toll inside, and then we'll start the clock. That'll fill that tank up. Right, so start the clock and then agitate. Five times, give it a tap, and there's my timer there, you can see. And I'll do that on the minute, every minute, until we get to the end. So my negatives are washed and they look alright, so I'm looking forward to getting them printed. They're drying at the moment, so that's going to take a couple of hours, but in the meantime I just thought I'd show you guys what I'll be using for the print. The first thing I'm going to be doing is making a contact print, just so I can see and evaluate my negatives on a piece of silver paper. So I've got my piece of glass ready for that. I'll show you that when we get round to printing. And the test strip machine that I use, a lot of people ask me about this one. What's it called? Where did I get it? It's just this little test strip machine here, which I do in increments of, you get the idea. So this is the test strip machine that I use. Put a little bit of paper on there, under the enlarger, and do my increments and so on. I believe this was actually from Jessop's. It's quite old, but I found it in a school that doesn't use the darkroom anymore. So I know it was from Jessop's, but I don't know if you can still buy them online, but I'm lucky enough to have one, so I quite like using that. And my little focus finder here, another thing that I found in an antique shop that you'll see me use, and a lot of people ask me questions about this one as well. This is an old Bakelite focus finder, and you'll see me use it in a moment, but again, you can't get these anywhere online. If you do want to search them or go on eBay or whatever, just search for antique focus finders or something like that. But that's the focus finder that I'm going to be using. I'm going to be making 10 by 10 prints. Now the negatives from the Zeiss Ikon are 6 by 6 square. I like the square format a lot, so I've actually made my own template. Now I've used this out of matte board, framing matte board. and I've got videos on this as well on my channel. But basically this is a 10-inch aperture that I've cut on this mount board, and I've kept the insert as well because once I've projected my image onto the paper, and then before I develop, I then place the insert inside, which will give me a slight black border around the edge. So yeah, so this is what I'm going to be doing in a moment. So we'll let those negatives dry, and I'll come back and show you myself making a print, hopefully a decent print of one of those photographs from Night and Gorges. Okay, so I've got my trays in place now, and my negatives are dry. They've already cut up. I've put them inside the sleeve already. Something went wrong with the first few frames. It looked like they got exposed to light somehow. I don't think it was inside the camera. Do you know what? I know it wasn't inside the camera, so I really can't figure out why they hit a problem. I don't know if you can see them now, but the first few frames, I'll just put them on the light box for you to see. But yeah, the first few frames hit a spot of trouble there, but never mind. I've still got some decent photographs to work with, and this is the paper that I'm using. This is Kent Mears 12 by 16 paper. Quite like this paper. It takes a little bit longer than Ilford to develop in the trays, that I've noticed, probably twice as long, but when it does get developed, I notice the blacks are really nice and rich, and just some really nice tones out of this paper, so it's quite a nice paper to use. So this is the paper I'm using, 20 by 16, and of course I'm doing a 10 by 10 print, so I'll be cutting some off to use as test strips, but for now I'm going to make a contact print, so let me show you how I do that. Okay, so I'm going to make my contact print now. The first thing I've got to do is just test for maximum black on my paper, and then once I've established the time for maximum black, I can then make my contact print. So I'll just show you what I'm going to do is just take a small test strip out of this paper, put it into my test print machine here. So I'll bring my enlarger up as high as I can. Okay, so I'm just going to test my paper now for maximum black before I do a contact sheet. In fact, I won't use the machine. I'll just do it by hand. Real tricky, guys. I've got two video cameras right next to me, so I'm kind of bending over and trying not to jog this camera or this camera. So okay, so the enlarger is at f11, enlarger as high as it can go, and I'm just going to go along and do increments of 3 seconds. So let's give it a burst. First 3, and hopefully this will find my maximum black before I make my contact print. One more bit there. Okay, let's put that in the one more, and we'll put that in the developer and see what we come up with. Okay, so hopefully guys you can see this. This is my test print for maximum black. So I was doing it every 3 seconds. So you can see I've got 3, 6, 9, 12 there. Obviously, because there's a difference, I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but there is a difference between 9 and 12. 12 slightly darker, but then from then on I can't see any difference. So my maximum black on this paper is going to be 12 seconds. That's what I'm going to go for. So my contact print is going to be 12 seconds. Okay, so let's make our contact print. There's the piece of paper that I'm going to use. That's going to cover the whole area. I've got my glass there. All I need to do is just carefully place my negatives emulsion side down. I'm not going to put these one. Actually, I've only got one to put there. The other ones are ruined, so I'll just put that on the edge like so. Try and fit these on this small test piece I've got here. I don't want to waste too much paper. And you notice I'm not using gloves, because I'm being very careful. I'm just handling my negatives on the sides. If you don't use gloves, just handle your negs on the sides, you'll be fine. But it's not going to fit on my piece of paper, but you get the idea. and from this I'll be able to see roughly where I am. This was a spare piece of paper I had in my box. I thought it might all fit, but I'll have to do. Place the glass on top. Okay, let's now burst the light on, what did we say, 12 seconds, wasn't it? And it's done. Right, so here's my contact print that I've made using the scrap paper that I found in my box. I'm glad to say they all managed to fit on quite nicely in the end. The sheep looks underexposed, the poor little sod. The rest of them look alright. Do you know what? It's not really a pretty sight to make a print. I'm going to make a print of one of these posts anyway, but not only is it not a pretty sight, then with the stories that I've read, it's not really something I don't think I'd want to hang up on my wall. But I'm going to make a print anyway. In fact, I'm going to make 2 prints from these. These are the 2 road ones I took. Quite like these. This one here is from, I'll tell you the story about that in a moment. That's at the back. I walked up to the back after I turned the video cameras off and took a photograph of the posts. That's from the front. Don't really like that too much. So I'm really only left with 2 I like really, is this main one and this one here of the posts. But I'll go with this one for a post. This one's a little bit too to the right for my liking. So I'm going to use this one and this one and the other road one, which I quite like. So let's go for the post first of all. Put it in my carrier. Emulsion side down. So put it in the enlarger. Lights off. Focusing in. Okay, let's get my focus finder. So it's not as in focus as much as I'd liked. Obviously I ballsed up inside the focusing on the day, but never mind, I'm going to crack on and hopefully get something out of this. So let's do a test print on this. Bring the aperture down, f8, and we'll start a test print. So you can see here from the contact print, this is the photograph that I want to make a print of, and this is the test strip that I've done in increments of 3 seconds, sorry. So you've got 3, 6, 9, 12, blah blah blah. 3, 6. I can see that straight away 9's too dark. It's not a great test print, doesn't show me much, but I went and had a hunch and did a second test print at 7 seconds. And this is the print I did. You can see it's quite large actually. This is the second test print that I did. This was at 7 seconds, but this area is a little bit too, there's just some dark areas there that I'm not happy with, so I'm going to go for 6 seconds on an overall print. I'm trying to keep away from dodging and burning, just want to keep it as natural as possible. So I'm going to, you know, I could easily dodge this area here, but I don't really want to get into that. I just want to keep it a natural photograph and a straight print. So I'm going to go for 6 seconds, see what comes up. Okay, so I've got my easel sitting there, my homemade easel, and I'm going to place a piece of paper in there now, 16 by 12. And then on the edges, first thing I need to do is cut it down to size, and the rest of it I'll use as a test strip. Plonk it in there, and this excess remaining I used as a test strip, put it back in my packet. There she goes. Put it down, hopefully it's nice and straight. Okay, and I use these to weight the mount board down. These are just angle brackets. They're quite heavy, so they do the job well. There you go. Finally, I'm just religious about little hairs falling on the paper, and always end up using a waft card just to do this and waft any hairs or dust that might fall on the print. So anyway, let's go for this 6 seconds. Okay, that's done. Last thing to do is to make my black border around the edge, which is what I use this part for. I have got a video on my website on this. I'm just going to have to get in the way of the cameras a sec so I can measure this up. Hopefully you can still see on that camera. And I'll just weight this down now with these extra ones. I don't want any light leaking underneath, so I'm just going to weigh it down. In fact, I've run out of weights, so I'm just going to improvise. Put my Zeiss Ikon Nettar one side, that'll hold it down. I don't know. I'm going to stick a bottle of beer on the other side just to hold that side down. Take the negative out of the carrier and just hit white light around it for a short while. That should do us. That paper's given me enough, that 10 inches given me enough to play with. At the bottom here, if I want to sign it and date it. So this will be a couple of minutes in this developer. It's quite slow working. I found this Kentmere paper as opposed to Ilford's. I'll just agitate it slowly. I'll leave the video on for this. This might get boring for some people, but some people might be interested to see it come through. You can always skip through the video if you want. But don't turn off. That just gives me bad percentages with YouTube. You turn off if you like, I don't really care. So it's starting to come through now. And I'm using warm tone developer as well, so I haven't got warm tone paper, but I'm using warm tone developer, which is slower than your normal multigrade developer to work, but I don't mind. It is what I've got and I'll use it. So it's looking nice, it's coming through now. Okay, that's about enough there. Let's put it in the stop and fix and have a look at it in the lights on. Okay, so the print's fixed. This is the wash tray now, so I'll just put it into the wash tray. I'll show you what I use for these larger prints. Just put it in there. And I'll just leave it soaking in there, washing. And it's only resin paper, so it doesn't take it doesn't need as much washing as fibre would do. and leave her out to dry. So overall that was quite a long darkroom session. I managed to make a few prints. I was a little bit disappointed in the start of those negatives. I really don't know for the life of me what happened. I'm sure that the Zeiss Ikon isn't leaking any light, so I can only assume it must have happened when I was in the darkroom loading the film into the tank. Even though all the lights are out, I'll have to re-go over my darkroom and make sure there's no any light leaks anywhere. So anyway, you know, shit happens. So I'll just show you some of the prints that I was making. So that was the first one. Like I said, it was pretty tricky around there. There wasn't a great deal for photo opportunities, like I said, but you know, I knew I was only going to come out with a few photographs. So this is one of them, quite like this. This is one of the posts. And this was another print I liked, which was the road. Now, the first one didn't come out too well. I've got too much light this side, which is the sun coming through past the trees. It's nothing to do with the way I was enlarging or printing. It was just as it was, but I didn't like it like that. So I decided to burn this area in just for a couple more seconds. But unfortunately, while doing that, I burned in the greenery at the back, so that went jet black. And I didn't want that, so I had to make another reprint of that, which is this one here. So now you can see I've kind of got an even look at the bottom here on the road, nice and dark, and I've managed to keep some detail in the bushes as well at the top. So that's quite a nice print. That one I mucked around with for quite a bit off camera, but I quite like that photograph, again in the same area. And the final print, I wasn't going to print this one, but I decided to in the end. That was a shot of the gate posts from the road. There was no dodging, burning at all. It was just a straight print. I can't remember now. I think it was about 6 or 7 seconds that I did on the enlarger. Quite happy with that print. But like I said, none of these. I like the road ones, but I don't think I'm going to frame and put any of the gate posts up on my walls. I think A, it will freak me out a little bit, and B, I don't think my wife would like it too much. Definitely a strange place to visit. Photography wise, I got a few photographs out of it, but you know, it wasn't nowhere as near as photogenic as the Darkroom house that I'd photographed in one of my previous videos. So I'll be looking out for another interesting place on the island to photograph soon. So anyway guys, thanks for all your subscriptions, thanks for the likes, thanks for the comments, and keep watching, and I'll catch you next time. Hey. George, it's just about to jump on my prints. What are you doing? Go on, bugger off.